Reducing the scope of PCI-DSS to a more manageable size can help simplify compliance efforts and reduce the associated costs and resource requirements. Here are some approaches to consider. 1. Tokenization or encryption. Implementing tokenization or encryption can significantly reduce the amount of cardholder data that needs to be protected under PCI-DSS. Tokenization involves replacing sensitive data with non-sensitive equivalents, while encryption involves converting the data into a code that can only be read with a key. By tokenizing or encrypting sensitive data, you can limit the scope of PCI-DSS to a smaller subset of data that requires protection. 2. Outsourcing. Using a third-party service provider to process or store cardholder data can help reduce the scope of PCI-DSS. Service providers that are compliant with PCI-DSS can assume some of the compliance responsibilities, leaving the organization with a smaller scope to manage. 3. Segmentation. Implementing network segmentation can help limit the scope of PCI-DSS by isolating systems that store or process cardholder data from other systems on the network. By segmenting the network, an organization can reduce the number of systems and components that need to be included in PCI-DSS compliance efforts. 4. Minimization. Minimizing the amount of data that is collected and stored can also help reduce the scope of PCI-DSS. By only collecting the minimum amount of data required for a transaction and immediately disposing of any unnecessary data, an organization can limit the amount of cardholder data that needs to be protected. 5. Compliance program. Establishing a PCI-DSS compliance program can help an organization identify areas where compliance efforts can be streamlined and the scope reduced. By conducting a thorough assessment of systems and processes, an organization can identify areas where compliance requirements can be simplified or eliminated. These approaches can help an organization reduce the scope.